When you think about physics, you probably picture labs, maybe some particle accelerators, that kind of thing. But what if I told you that the deepest theories about our universe are more than just equations on a blackboard? What if they're actually the philosophical blueprints that have shaped our economies, our politics, and even our very sense of who we are? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. It's a huge question, right? And it's at the absolute heart of our story today. We're about to see how two competing views of reality, both born from physics, have been secretly pulling the strings behind everything, from our art and religion all the way to the rise of genocide and the dawn of globalization. And here they are, our two contenders. In one corner, you've got the orderly, predictable, clockwork universe of classical physics, and in the other, the strange, interconnected, and uncertain universe of quantum physics. We're talking about two different lenses that create two completely different worlds. Okay, so let's start with this fundamental split. Modern physics is really a tale of two theories, and the biggest difference between them? It all comes down to scale. You have the rules for the world of the very big versus the rules for the world of the very, very small. And just look at the sheer time span here. For more than 200 years, Newtonian physics was the undisputed champion. It was seen as the final word, the ultimate answer for how the universe worked. But then, right around the turn of the 20th century, new experiments started showing things that the old rules just couldn't explain. And just like that, a revolution was born. So let's start with that first worldview, the Newtonian clockwork. Now, this wasn't just a set of laws about motion and gravity. It became a whole philosophy of absolute certainty and predictability that seeped into every single corner of society. And this is the core principle right here, determinism. The idea is simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It says that if you have enough data about the present, the future isn't a mystery at all. It's basically just a calculation. It's why we can predict solar eclipses down to the second. And that kind of reliability gave Newtonian physics an almost godlike status. And this idea had a massive ripple effect. The concept of a detached, objective observer changed everything. It led to viewing workers as just cogs in a bigger machine. In art, it even inspired movements like Cubism, which tried to show an object from multiple objective viewpoints all at once. And in a universe that seemed to run itself like a perfect clock, well, some people started to argue that you didn't really need a clockmaker anymore. And this mechanical cause and effect thinking, it did not stay in the physics lab. It became the foundation for some of the most influential theories in all of history. Think about it. Adam Smith's invisible hand guiding the economy, Marx's theories of class struggle, Darwin's natural selection. They all shared this same DNA of a predictable, rule-based system. And here's the perfect example in psychology, Pavlov's dog. This whole experiment is pure Newtonian logic applied to a living thing. A specific cause, the bell, is repeatedly linked to an effect, the food, until the cause alone produces the desired outcome. The mind itself is being treated just like a predictable little machine. But this worldview had a profoundly dark side. If everything is observable and measurable, why not human intelligence? The invention of IQ tests back in 1912 led to the belief that you could neatly categorize and rank people. And according to our source, this lent a kind of scientific justification to horrific ideas like a master race, contributing to the ideology behind the age of genocide. For 400 years, this was the dominant philosophy. The universe and everything in it was seen as this complex machine. And to understand it, all you had to do was take it apart, measure the pieces, and figure out how they fit back together. This is called reductionism, and for a long, long time, it reigned supreme. But then, everything changed. A new worldview emerged that completely shattered that clockwork machine. Welcome to the quantum web, a reality that is fundamentally interconnected, uncertain, and, let's be honest, it's just plain weird. It's a science that the source material says runs counter to all that had gone before. This quote right here really captures the essence of the shift. The old idea of taking things apart to understand them was replaced by the realization that you can't take them apart. Everything is fundamentally connected in one indivisible whole. This table lays out the revolution so clearly. Just look at the observer, no longer separate, but an active participant who actually influences the outcome just by looking. Reality is no longer a simple choice of this or that. A particle can be in multiple states at once. The future isn't a fixed calculation. It's just a haze of probabilities. This completely turns the old worldview on its head. And just like the Newtonian view,
This new quantum perspective bled into society. The idea of an inseparable whole inspired movements for global cooperation. We now understand that an economic crisis in one country can crash markets worldwide in minutes. We see ourselves not as masters of nature, but as part of an interconnected ecosystem.
This comparison says it all. We've basically replaced the certainty of Pavlov's dog, where we know exactly what will happen when the bell rings, with the famous uncertainty of Schrödinger's cat. In the quantum world, the cat is both alive and dead until we open the box. The outcome is a probability, not a certainty.
Of course, with any profound new idea, especially one this strange, comes misinterpretation and, well, exploitation. And this brings us to what happens when quantum mechanics leaves the lab and enters the marketplace.
Now, our source makes a really crucial distinction here. While it's tempting to draw parallels between quantum physics and mysticism, these connections are based on metaphor, not scientific fact. Science itself makes no claims about God's existence or other transcendental ideas. Its job is to explain the physical world. But that hasn't stopped quantum from becoming a massive buzzword. Because the concepts are so mysterious and counterintuitive, the word itself has been co-opted by what the source calls scientific charlatans to sell just about anything. And the examples are, frankly, incredible. We're talking quantum life coaching, quantum hair removal. There's even a mention in the source of quantum cows and sheep. It's become this catch-all term for anything that sounds advanced and mysterious, slapped onto products and services with no real connection to the actual science. And while some of this is kind of amusing, there's this serious problem here. When these unsupported claims are used to sell therapies for real health issues, it can lead to exploitation and frustration for people who are genuinely looking for help. It's a cautionary tale about the misuse of scientific language. So, this all brings us to our final section, a chance to reflect. We've seen these two powerful competing worldviews. I mean, we live in a world where we use Newtonian physics to send rockets to Mars, but we also live in a globally interconnected society that feels much more like that quantum web. So which world is it? And that brings us to this final, powerful question from the source, which I think perfectly sums up the entire journey. We've shifted from the perspective of a detached, objective observer looking at events out there to being an involved, subjective participant asking what is happening to us here. It suggests we no longer see ourselves as separate from the universe we're trying to understand, but as an inseparable part of it, a truly profound shift in how we see reality itself.